Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back once again to Pioneers of Pagonia, and I'm super excited about this one. The game just received a major update that completely overhauls the economy and also the early game, and of course that's what we're looking at right now. In this beautiful settler-like game, it's still a gorgeous game, right? And yeah, we start this time around once again with the ship that docked and our first settlers here roaming, well, some natural resources that they find, sticks and stuff like that. We need to get cracking with developing a city or a village out of this one here. And yeah, the first thing that I usually do, of course, is painting me a road. We can do this right over here. And then I would like to continue with that road setup all the way here. Let's have a look at the map. The map generation has also been completely overhauled. So we're going to see more diverse terrain, I guess. We're playing on a completely randomly generated map on here with enemies, with neutral villagers that we can conquer and trade with. So all of that will happen then during the course of this game. Now we can already see that we got a mountainside over there with rocks and probably, hopefully also copper. There's copper, and also over here stones and boulders, more stone, a forest here, and even some mushrooms right next to the beach. Now with that, let's have a look at my general road layout. So probably gonna have a bit of a crossing there, right? Where we then have some smaller buildings here. And buildings, well, the first one is a resource depot. And as far as I know, this is also a bit different. Let's actually have two right away, because we got some forests here and we got the stones over there. Next in line, I would also need to build a forager hut to get me the berries going, right? And let's make it so that we are with that a bit of in the center, right? Because we definitely want to reach both of these here, the mushrooms and the berries alike. One thing that is completely new are huts, right? So we now need to have housing for all of my pagonians, and also we need to then fulfill demands. And yeah, with happy demands and happy pagonians, we get new babies out of that. Speaking about babies, my total population is 50, so we're starting with a way lower population than before, and we need to grow this population into something. Now that's what the huts are for. Let's actually continue with the road building. We can have the road along the beach, or I could have it along here then. And yeah, as always, the road system is really neat. I like it. It's very dynamic, as you can see, the amount of roads that we can build somehow. And of course, we want to make this one, yeah, a bit chaotic, right? It's a settler game. I'm not building a massive city here, right? We're building a settlement that we can use then. And let's just go ahead and get this road here to the ocean, because there might be some fish down here then as well. Next in line, well, this is now in construction, and boy, this is going to take some time, right? First, they need to flatten the terrain, and then they need to deliver the resources over. So this pioneer here is already bringing some sticks over to this resource depot. And there's also a rabbit, an animal that we can hunt down then. So everything that you see basically is part of the economy and can be used as well. All right, these are coming up. We could continue now with the central building, and that's the village hall. I think that's also new, and trains pioneers and builders. And this is basically your central hub where, you know, you have then all the training going on and stuff like that. So I would like to get this one a bit central, of course, somewhere right here, where we can easily access then both ways. You know what? Let's actually have it here. Because I'm probably going to have an industry zone over there by the looks of it, right? So that means we can have some residential buildings that here forming, something like that along the way. Alrighty, our first gathering huts are finished, or resource depots. There's immediately 3 people going for this, pioneers, right? So this is kind of like your basic workforce that we have. And we got 19 available, and 9 of them are now working here. And that's those 3, and also another 3 that will be coming for the forager. They're gathering now everything that they see. That is wood, that is wood from trees and sticks from the ground, right? So these 2 different things here. Copper and stone. These are the things, right? I'm gonna make this 2 times because you're gonna need a lot of these resources. Forager hut has been finished. There's actually a forager now coming in. They're being trained first before they can be employed, and they're collecting in the berries, the mushrooms and flax. And yeah, there's a lot of gathering already going on for my resources to flood in. Yeah, that village hall is gonna take some time. It's a lot of builders working on the foundation here. Next, we can already work then on my workshop. So here we can craft tools. That's also once again something that is very central. And I would probably like to have it here right away. Yep, just towards my industry zone. So this is where we can store tools and produce them as well. And yeah, let's actually make a road here then as well. All the way down behind the village hall. And here we could have then our first huts that we can form just along the beaches. And you're gonna need a bunch of them. Right now, we got 41 homeless. I wonder where the other 9 are living. Where do we provide the housing though? I think on the boat, right? Might be on the boat, on the Ventura, my ship. Alright, the foragers have been trained and they are also now working the bushes. So this is all very basic. This is also something completely new. We do not have all the buildings unlocked, right? So as we can see, there's 7 more buildings that we can unlock just in this category here. There is 7 buildings we can unlock in this category, 8 in this one. So all of that will be coming step by step now, right? And we only have the most basic buildings available that we need to build right now. We're playing on a huge map, and we can also see how much area we have explored already. So that is the 3% over there. And here we have our settlement progression. So we're in the era of wood right now, all the way here. And then we can progress through all of these steps here to, well, also then get us all the way to the advanced cement constructions. All right, right now though, my village hall is being finished. And there it is. Beautiful building, very detailed. And here we can now train units, right? The basic one is the Pioneer. So they're being trained out of the carriers that we have. So this is the most basic form. These are also then the babies coming out of my houses. And they're transporters, right? And once we train them, we can train them into Pioneers and then guards and then later on into soldiers and rangers and more. As more is being then unlocked. Speaking about guards, we should already start with the exploration, and that's a guard post. And let's just check it out in which direction we should be going. Let's have a guard post out here, and let's have a guard post out here. So I would probably like to make it so that we expand into 2 different directions. This one is the major one though. Alright, there's also my next building, the workshop, finished. And here we can now, well, produce tools. The basic one is the spear. And let's go ahead and make it so that you always produce up to 5 spears, right? So that's the minimum stock that we have now. And I would also like to do this for the stone pick. This costs me then stone and wood. And let's also get me 5 stone picks minimum. For the rest, I think I do need some advanced materials already, like copper for the hammer. And for the knife and for the bronze sword then. Carries immediately deliver those resources. So this all takes a bit of time to work. Yeah, and we're also collecting these rocks. So eventually those fields will disappear, right? As we deplete that, and then we can use it as a building space. That is the idea. At least for now. Meanwhile, my houses are coming along. Very nice. And this is where people now move in. That's carriers, right? And we can see that we're getting down now on the homelessness, and that's 14 now that we still have. Now we have 6, so we need to build 1 more, and then everyone has a home basically. Here we can also see now that we need to provide, for example, a comfort meal. And with that, we would have then a happy population that produces then also newborn. Alrighty, also some exploration is starting now. So this map is pretty big. There's going to be lots of stuff and we'll need to decide in which direction we actually want to go for them. Now, the guard post can expand our borders. There's my border. And I cannot build beyond that. So we need to now get my explorable area or my focus point going. I think though, I just want to scout. So perhaps we can actually just scout all the way up here now. And I want to see what's lurking there. We don't have any guards at the moment though. But you notice my carries are already delivering something. And that's rocks. Because rocks we are going to need for border stones. Right? So that's one of those small details you need to absolutely make sure that you have. And yeah, let's train guards. And we are training 6. Because we got 2 posts. And each one takes 3 to 5 people to work. Alright, we have now home for everyone, but we only have home for 2 additional ones. So we need to even build more huts down the road. Alright, copper will be important. There we have some copper. This is one of my major goals early on. There's a ruin. Yeah, and there's also, I think, swampland coming up. I think this is a bit problematic as we cannot build on swamp. We'll just see. And there are the first guards. This guy here already expanding the border. One thing I love is how detailed productions are. So in this case here, you can see that the materials are being delivered over. This has also been refined again. And then we got the rocks and the sticks. And right now he is working probably on a stone pick, because this requires both of them. Oh no, actually spear also. He's working on the spear. There's the spear being delivered now, and then also brought to my resource depot. Alright, we're growing. 8 new people have joined, and we need more housing. You can also limit your population growth, of course, by the amount of houses that you have. This one was wrong. Gonna get this one over there. And here we're expanding now, so I can get my next resource depot going. That is then collecting copper for us, the first copper that we need. It's a very tiny one though. I hope there's more copper lurking around somewhere. Ah, up there. Yep. There seems to be lots of copper on this rock that we have. Alright, by now we focus on expansion. I think this one here is safer to advance to right now, because that looks like swampland. Bit more food that we can get out of that. And we have obtained copper. With that, we have now advanced to the copper era, more or less. This gives me now access to a bunch more buildings, and one of them is the wood cutting area and also the hunting lodge. So we can now start hunting, and there it is. The fishing hut gives me access to trouts and herrings. And let's have this one. Where do we have fish? There we have lots of fish by the look of it. So I might just get me a fisher hut somewhere here if I want to, or over there by the, yeah. I think I'm gonna go ahead and have it over there for now. Because there we have also lots of fish. Ah, okay, we need to actually get it a bit more towards the beach. Has a very small radius, this one. And then we have the wood cutting hut. So this makes sure that we get rid of the tree area now. Of course, that we need to, because I want to also advance with my city. Let's have this one for now right over here next to the forest, so that we can start chopping it away. This also leads to my first processing industry building, more or less, and that is the weaving shed. This one utilizes the flax that we gather in my forager hut to make then cloth and ropes out of that. And yeah, this is probably gonna be my industry zone here, so we can already go ahead and place me my next building then here. And those ropes we can then use in the wood workshop to produce the bows, for example. And I might actually have a hunting cabin a bit further away though. Some over here. And he's always turning it. Snap it to the road. There you go. So how is it looking up there? Beautiful building space that we have. This looks like a very good space to advance the city. Oh, what is that? Oh, lots of wild flax. Very good. That's something we're gonna need soon. And there's also my wood cutting area now. Let's set the point and remove the forest. So we can toggle this one. Right now I have no idea if this is activated or not. Because I want to get rid of this forest here, right? We can still have another forest over there that we regrow then. And over there is a bigger one. This one here needs to go, of course. And we're taking this away, and with that we get now the hardwood trunk, the softwood trunk, and the wood. Because every tree gives me something different, right? This one here gives me hardwood, and this one here is softwood. So you need these for two different kind of productions then. And over here, we discovered the border of a Pagonian village. There is a neutral village over there. A tailor shop comes up. So no idea yet what they're about. We'll find out. And there is a deposit for coal. Very good. I would, by the way, also like to utilize that flax field here. We do have the forager. Pretty sure we're going to need a second forager now, right? So I might actually make the focus point of this forager moving a bit further over here. So into this area. And then we're going to make a second one that takes the flax fields up there. Oh, he's actually doing it already. So it seems like that's still within range. Ah, okay, just this one. Just this one really was within range. Still, doesn't matter. Also, there's now my soldiers. We have universal combat units. It's also a bit different with them now. Bronze sword and wooden shield. We do have now the bronze sword unlocked. This cost me copper and wood. And let's also make this one into a minimum of 5 again. Right. And then we need the wood shields. That is then my wood processing building. The wood workshop. Let's also get this one going right beside my tailor. Speaking about the tailor, that one's finished now. And here, the weaver can now produce cloth and ropes. And let's make it once again that we have a minimum stock of both of them. Oh, we've grown quite a bit to 100. That's because we have enough food. Speaking about food, we have it over here. So we still have 16 raspberries and 16 mushrooms available. And as you can see, we're consuming quite a bit based on my population growth. So I think I will need more forager huts. For the woodcutter to work, however, we do need a tool, and that is the axe. Without it, we cannot have any woodcutters. Let's check it out with the axe. We can also see here the demand that we have right now. I like that. And let's produce axes up to 5 once again. And we do the same thing for the knives that we're also going to need now. I think the knives will be coming with the hunting lodge. Could be. We have discovered more stone up here in the mountains. And we can see there's another ocean or lake coming up. Oh. And there's that village. They're eyeing us already with soldiers. We should be careful about that. And we've gained access to the softwood trunks now. And let's just check this one out. That's in here. So already grew to this area here now. This unlocks me then a whole bunch of other buildings. And also the ranger as my next unit. Now, we're advancing faster than we can build. We actually moved now the woodcutting hut over there. It makes more sense to me because we can actually set the focal point, right, to this area for now. And then we can work on that forest. It's just between the two forests. It makes sense to me to have the woodcutter there and get rid of these. Of course, with that in mind, where did we grow so far? My border's out here now. And this area we still need to take in, so that is the next important area. Oh, and look at that, it's outside of the guard post range. So perhaps this one here can still do it, right? That looks like a very good mining area for us here in the mountains. And we've also produced the cloth, and with that unlocked us these guys here now. And that's, for example, the warehouses then. Also, we're bordering now to this village here, right? So that's exactly my border. And right now, we cannot do anything with them. So we cannot interact with them. But there's going to be a building for that. Yeah, taking away that forest here works rather quickly. And with that, we have also now the trunks in. That's going to be... It's going to be important that we find, though, of course, this forest here. So we probably will need to make another guard post to that area here soon. So that we have then a real forest area that we can also reforest. It's time to get to this copper over there now. The normal gatherer for this is probably not the right job anymore. We also got the quarry now. Oh, that's just for the stone blocks and stones. For the copper, we still have the resource depot. Alright. So let's go ahead and get me that. And as you can see, there's lots of stuff here, especially the copper that I would like to take. So we're just going to have this tiny camp here then. Close to this area. I just hope that we can build that road. There you go. All the way up, because we're gonna need a lot of copper. There's also more over there, so it makes sense for me to... Wait a second, we do have a resource camp. It's outside the range, so I don't need to build another one. Somewhere over here. Can we have a road over there? Okay, this way is working. Into this swamp area. They've got nothing to do right now. Yeah, the hammers, we lack the copper. Yeah, we also have the ropes now. That means I can finally produce me some fishing rods. Let's just go ahead and get me those 3 going. And I'm just gonna make the order here. Alright. Produce the quantity, 3. There you go. Because without that, my fishers won't work. And we can do the same thing for the hunting bows. With the copper coming in, it's busy again at the workshop, producing tools. And finally, my wood workshop is working, since we have now the woodworkers that require the hammer. And they're now producing us fishing rods and bows. Time for my next buildings. One of them is the warehouse finally. This is a central building where we can store all kind of things, right? And since we're moving our productions a bit further here towards the mountain, makes sense to me to have this one somewhere here. Could probably have it like so. This would be the cleanest spot, I guess. Could also have it right here. This would be a nice defendable position. And I think, yeah, I think we can have it right here, as we're going to have more and more buildings around that here. One of these new buildings, for example, is then my tailor shop. And what we do right away is my provisioner. This provides me with rations that I can use then for my units. So let's get going with this one. And then also the tailor. I would probably also like to start using the coal that we have up there. So for this we have our own building. And that is the coal hut that gathers coal out of this mountain area. Let's continue also with a few more huts. By the way, we don't have the bigger house yet available because we have upgrades to this. Yeah, let's wait for the upgrade for the big one, for the big houses then. Let's have a few more normal huts out here, probably. So there is another road going down into my mushroom field, but we don't need that anymore. At least not in this quantity. And then I make the connection here, and then towards my ship over there. Lots of constructions right now. This will take some time. Oh, wait a second. I think we also need to have a few more builders for that. They're working on the warehouse right now, which still takes some time because it requires the cloth. Found another stone deposit out here. That's not bad. This is not so far away. So I can see that we are getting another stone deposit going here and then the next forest over there. And there's the warehouse, and as you can see, it's getting quite busy over there because, yeah, everybody delivers now to the warehouse back and forth. Another building is now the quarry. This one here breaks the stones and makes it into stone blocks and stone. So this is something that we have now here, these boulders here, right? So my normal gathering hut cannot take them. So this is where we need the quarry for now. And boy, it has a nice range. Yeah, we could potentially have it up here in the mountain right away. Or we just have it a bit further down here by the village. I think this works a bit better. And this is too far away though. I really want to get as much in as possible. I think this works. Yeah. Let's have it then also here. And this is where the roads are coming along. Ah, there's still this tree here blocking my path. And we're gonna need diggers for that. And those diggers need the stone pick, and we have stone picks available. Also at this point, by the way, we have wooden shields and bronze swords. So let's actually train us soldiers until we have 5. Beside the soldiers, we also have the rangers. And these are fearless adventurer units that excel at spotting and chasing disguised thieves. So they need a torch and a light armor. Now, the torch we already produce. There it is, right? So we got 3 torches available already. Let's actually ramp this up to 4. The light armor, though, that they also need, is now in my tailor workshop. And here we have the light armor over there. And we have 2 types of this. Either we use cloth or we use leather. We have lots of leather right now thanks to the hunter. So I would like to get cracking with this. Let's make me some 5 light armors. We also have then backpacks here. And padded armor, robes, golden robes, and silver robes. And there's the provisioner. Yeah, endlessly producing now rations. Is this smart? I don't think so. Why would it do this endlessly? This would consume all my wood that I have, because rations take wood as an ingredient. Seems strange, right? We can of course decide then, do we want to make it out of rabbit meat, out of boar meat, out of raspberries? So in this case here, please don't do this, but only up to a certain amount. Having this by standard on forever seems like a very strange thing to me. So we're just gonna make it so that it goes all the way to 20 for each. And finally, there's also the quarry coming along. The hammers we have. And we can now start producing stone blocks. Do we need to do anything from that? Yep. We can decide if we want to make the stones from the smaller rocks, okay? But not from the boulders, please. From the boulders, I want to get the stone blocks. A guard panicked due to a spectre. Okay, we got a ghost over there. That's the first contact with the specters. Oh, and also up here, look at that. We've, by the way, also unlocked now the next chapter. Here, with that, we have the market and stuff like that. But right now, I'm a bit more worried about my ghosts. So let's actually get me my soldiers and my rangers. Especially rangers, we're gonna need to protect me that area here. Can we say how many? Because we also have this guard post here, and I also want to get my soldiers and my rangers going here. The rangers with the torches should be able to take care of these ghosts. They look pretty cool. I wonder where they're coming from. They're all wandering into this direction here, so there might be a hub of some sorts. Finally, we have access to the cottage. This needs now the stone block, so this has 12 residential capacity. And let's start building us a few of them right here, a bit more in the center now. And what I also like is that we have now these decorations added, and we can also then get us some, trees in. Let's have one over there. Oh, they're placed instantly. Okay. Some fences and crates. Might have the crate over here. And then we also have something bigger, a small square and a cat statue. That's always a win for me, having some cats in here. Oh, the plaza is actually quite big. So we could have this in a central position like here, for example. Just by the boulder. Oh, this doesn't look good. And yeah, that forest is gone now. That was rather quick. That also means we can now get rid of this resource depot here. We no longer need it. And I also don't need that forager hut there anymore. There's basically nothing to collect close by. And with that, look at the amount of space that we have available all of a sudden. The forager wasn't working for a while. By the way, there's a forester now. Very good. But I want my forager. Because I think we got the berries over there. Yep. Anything else? Nah. Just this. There you go. And then probably a bit further up here. Yep. Over there are some deposits that are growing for us from time to time. Another Spectre attack. Getting a bit more aggressive now. But we have now soldiers roaming the streets. And also my adventurers here. My rangers. And as you can see, we're now consuming meals. They're being required also by my more advanced buildings, like the Quarry here. And this means also we are not able to keep up with demand right now, because we're always out of rations at the moment. This consumes a lot of my raspberries and my meat, so we gotta be careful here to not run out of it. Oh, coal, by the way. Yep, nice. Lots of it. This makes it possible to get some more advanced buildings going. So we have the guild hall now that trains construction workers and craftspeople. That would be something to also get going. Oh, by the way, we still have some trees here that are actually growing. Something has been stolen. There are thieves now coming in. Bandits starting to rob me. They're coming from this area here. So there might be a camp or some sort. So the Spectres from the west and the bandits from the east. For this we need something new, and that is now the guard tower. So this one here, previously we had the guard post. Now I can go with the guard tower that has then more military units, that is more protecting us then. We could also probably set attack point, set patrol point into this area here now for my soldiers and my rangers. Ah yeah, there they are, right? Taking care of them hopefully. As they're coming into my town there. Yeah, There they are then, right? Patrolling the area. I'm not expanding the border right now, so I'm gonna wait a bit and then we continue with that. We do have, though, a new building here, the Explorer Hut. This one here uses rations to explore unknown territories, and this gives me the Explorer. And let's have this one, yeah, a bit further up here, I think, because this looks like there's a lot of space for us to explore. And yeah, still waiting for that tree here to disappear. I mean, it's a beautiful tree. But it's gonna... Yeah, it's gone. There it is. That was quick. Leaving behind some of those trunks now that we can harvest. Okay, for the cottages we need builders. That's new. There we have them. And let's train builders up to 5. They need the hammer then. This looks fine. There is also our very first cottage now coming along. And a bit later we have it, and this one has now 12 instead of the 8 that we had previously, and of course it's looking much nicer as well. So that's the middle step. There's even a higher step then that we are unlocking later on, I think, than the high density building. Also, as we can see, people are moving in now, and they would also like to have some comfort meal, and this is something they need to have wood in stock at all times, yeah, as a fireplace. So we always need to make sure that we have enough wood. I love that we have now a graph that we can see. I don't think this was there before, and we can now see how high my consumption is, and yeah, my production for this resource. Speaking about wood, what we can see now is that forest is gone. Yes, this forest is also, yeah, dwindling, and we need now something new, and that's this forest here. For this forest we are planning something else entirely, and I would like to have a forester here as well. So we're gonna have 2 buildings for this, regrowing the forest, and also then of course cutting it down, number 1 and also number 2 for the wood cutting hole. These 2 buildings will make sure that I will have an endless supply of wood coming in from now on. The big step forward now would be, first of all, let's provide as a market fountain to my people. This gives me then water, and water is something we're gonna need for a bunch of things. So let's have this one here. We definitely will have several of them, so it doesn't really matter where I place it right now. I could of course go with a market area here, right? So let's get rid of the cat statue there again. We got the market stall. We definitely want to have something here. The problem with that is a bit strange. I cannot build anything on top of that because forbidden sediment, right? The same goes with this one. Even though the stones are gone, I still cannot build anything on that. I would love for this patch to disappear because it doesn't make sense to me to have this ugly patch of dirt now in the middle of my city, and I cannot place anything on top of that. The only thing I can place on top of that is decoration, right? So in this case, we could try to plaster as many things on it as possible to get rid of that. Like, for example, a plaza area that we can have right here, right? And it has then, let's have a statue of the cat, and then we can also have some trees in the back of it, like so. Also looks, it doesn't look good, right? I mean, I could try and place some more sexy trees here in a more density fashion, a higher density, but that's about it, unfortunately, right? So we'll just see. Now it looks like, I don't know what it looks like. Nothing good, at least. In this area, we want to go with some market stalls. This is where we have the merchants and carriers get the ingredients over. And yeah, we can then use them to sell them to my people. Especially also important to get them to the tavern that we are gonna need then as well. So I can start with a smaller market area here. Let's start with 3 market stalls. And the tavern is something we haven't unlocked yet, so this would be something for later then. There's also a normal well that we can have. This one costs me then also rope. This is something we could have, for example, in my industry zone, just over there, where we're gonna need water then as well for the bakery. Now, the woodcutter is finished, and we're gonna say the focal point is here, and I'm not gonna chop down any trees though. So when activated, fell off all trees, including saplings, do not do that, right? So those saplings, they will persist so that we can regrow them into proper trees. Okay, you're taking your sweet time there with that last log. And then we can also finish now the forester. There it is. Even has a tree in it. And you're now going to replant softwood, hardwood, and normal wood. And yeah, this is the point, right? So we want to regrow that forest here continuously now. The explorer hut has been finished. Oh, and we got the specters there again. I don't think anyone died so far out of these specters, just scared. Just scared away. Now, the staff is also incoming from my explorers, and they're also getting the rations, and they're then starting to explore the map, right? And just find us something new. They can even find ruins and then also scavenge them for us. This is also something that I don't like so much, that these chunks actually disappear. Of course, it makes sense strategically to give you a bit of a pressure there to keep expanding. But, you know, you have then these ugly patches of nothingness in the middle of the map. And they're dead places, basically. So far so good. The city is growing. I hope you enjoyed this video of Pioneers of Pagonia, how the early game was has been overhauled. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like behind, and we may continue onwards then with a Let's Play series out of this game. It's beautiful. Definitely one of the more beautiful settler games out there right now, and also one of the more promising ones. Though, yeah, it still needs a lot of work. Stay tuned.